We're going to build a wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be Jonathan's wall. It's going to be fantastic.
And he's going to jump way, way over it.
And the photographer's going to pay for it.
He paid for it all right.
Welcome, everyone, to the Unlikely Story podcast, where we talk to all kinds of great individuals about their unlikely stories, their journeys to achieve their goals in those stories, and hopefully inspire you to go for it yourself.
That's right.
We've got a great guest in our show tonight on our podcast, and Chris will introduce him.
Yes, I will. And first and foremost, we want to thank those tuning in live today. We have a live stream going on right now on this podcast. Thanks to our sponsor and our friend, Rich, richmediasocial.com, for all of your social media needs. Our Tumblrs here that we love and we use all the time. Rich is awesome, and he
a lot of the posts you see that prep for these great interviews and the great content that we get out of these interviews is posted and handled and managed by Rich Media.
Thanks to Rich. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about social media today, given JClark, our guest, JClark, the Jumper, his own following, which is quite large. JClark, the Jumper. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you for
Good
having
to have you,
me.
man.
Yep. No, I'm excited. Excited should be fun.
This should be fun. We're excited to have you here. Travis, tell us a little bit about...
Have you done many podcasts or a couple?
I'd say I've done a few.
A few?
Yeah, no, I think as, I continue to grow, you get the invite and I love sitting down and telling my story.
It's mostly, I would say, for sports podcasts, though, right?
Yeah. Most, like 90% of them are sports related.
Which is great. But I want to ask you questions about content.
There we go.
Because okay. we do content. We are creators.
Yes.
And your life isn't just about being one of, if not the greatest dunkers.
It's definitely up to debate. But just how you said, like, I think one of the big interesting things with kind of the field that I'm in, I am an athlete, but at the end of the day, most of my identity revolves around content creation. A lot of people don't realize dunkers, professional dunkers, we are athletes and we train and we work hard, but most of the stuff is, content creation. And if you want to be at the top of your game, your content has to follow that. It's definitely an interesting.
That's so true. There's things that, and we'll get back to it, sorry, because there's things that my kids will watch on TV and Chris and I will just be like, what the heck are they watching? And it's someone like just putting their fingers in clay or whatever, or slime.
Definitely.
And I'm going, what? And like, who has time to do that kind of stuff? And I was like, you know what? It's not about the slime. It's about getting 3 million views in a week.
Yeah. 1,000%.
And like it's not about that.
My son, he's 20 months old and now he's like starting to navigate like the world of kids YouTube. And there's a guy who basically takes all the nursery rhymes and does the same exact thing that, a Coco Melon or your traditional nursery rhymes does. And he plays with the fidget spinner. And like, that's
his thing.
Millions of views. And it's just like, he Johnny, yes, Papa, like flipping a fidget spinner. And it's like crazy to see. So it's definitely interesting.
You carve out your niche, man. I tell you what. Well, Jonathan Clark, a.k.a. JClark the Jumper, is a world record-holding dunker and the high-flying high school teacher. I love that aspect of your story.
So cool.
Who has an obsessive passion for defying the laws of gravity. JClark the Jumper, Jumper, actually stands for something.
Yes.
Is that right? Can you tell us what that
so the
stands for?
acronym is just using my passion to elevate realities. So when I first kind of was really trying to figure out who I was with this, pro dunking thing, I would you do a lot of different things. So there's camps, there's the camp aspect of it. There's kind of, content creation. So whether it's like movies, commercials, things like that, print ads, and then there's kind of like live engagements that I would say like, basketball camps or anything where it's like live and you're doing a dunk show and things like that. And I really gravitated towards camps.
Mhm.
I really loved camps because I could talk to kids, being that I was, on a path to become a teacher. Like it just worked really well. And
Yeah.
I got to use my passion, which is dunking, to like motivate kids. So it was like me and my friend were sitting. He actually came to film the camp for me. And we
Nice.
were just like vibing out. We were driving on the way back from filming the camp, and I was like, man, that's so cool. And we're just like, we were spitballing ideas, and he kind of came up with it. He was like, just using my passion to elevate realities. I was like, that's what I
That's
do.
it,
I was
yeah.
like, that's what like I'm the jumper. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's it,
so like
yeah.
it just stuck and just never
That's
looked back
awesome.
from that. Yeah,
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
great. Something I think is contagious about you too. Just knowing you in person is you have this contagious smile. You have this like
Great energy.
great positive
Oh,
energy.
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
We had a bunch of kids on set that
Yeah.
were hooping it up at
Yeah.
at a local park, and you just showed up. I think they were all just so excited to see you and see you do some dunks. And
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, guys, you're going to want to check this out. JClark, this is how we connected with him. We had him on set with us as a basketball coach out
Yeah.
on this scene we were filming, and I'm gonna play just a montage of all the dunks he did that we captured on film, because we only show one in the actual
Really,
in
that's
the
cool.
film,
Yeah, that's
but we
cool.
got a bunch.
That's cool.
yeah, hours and weeks of setup and preparation for
One
10,
shot.
10 seconds
10
or
seconds.
4 seconds of
Yeah.
a shot.
It's so funny being on the other side of it and actually getting to see it, because then you like appreciate it so much more. So like when I see this on on the big screens, and I can say like, oh yo, that's me. Like I was
Yeah.
there all day, and it's like don't blink. Listen, like I'm coming. There I
Yeah,
am.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like that. I think that would be
Dude,
fun to see.
I
So,
know, and then you hear so many stories too of people who are on a movie or a show or something for even weeks or months at a time, and their whole part gets cut out.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's-
like
That happened in
completely cut out.
a major movie.
Oh, it happens all
Sterling,
the
didn't it
time.
happen to Sterling in Split?
Sterling K. Brown, yeah,
Sterling K. Brown
his
in
character
Really?
was completely cut out of
He
Split.
had a whole character arc for a separate character and got completely cut out.
Yeah,
If
I
they
mean,
just
it-
didn't
it
have time or
happens-
it wasn't working, or when they test screened it, it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but he's not really adding to it. And you watch the movie and you're like, why would there be a need for another
Right.
character?
Yeah.
And I think maybe they were feeling that after the fact.
It happens more often than you think. It's
That's-
crazy, but you're
that's
in the
so
show. You are in the
crazy.
show.
Yeah.
But we did get a lot of cool stuff of you behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
so
in
we'll
fact,
have to show some of that.
In fact, if you look up JClark the Jumper, just like a Google search,
Yep.
you'll see
The clip.
you jumping over King Batch.
How
in
hard-
it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like you see King Batch who's like posed like, hey, pass me the ball or whatever.
That-
And
yeah.
or it's like, wait, what? And then you're
He
high
jumped-
flying over him.
That
he
It's
was
just
great.
jumped
fun.
over me or whatever.
So that was a blast as well.
That
But,
was fun.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your story, JClark.
Okay.
You mentioned your story, and we want to hear, a little bit about that. How you got started in the dunking world and in athletics, and just kind of what brought you to where you are. You don't have to go like when I was born. That.
No, yeah, I got you.
Give us- give us-
no.
It all started when I was in
done that,
kindergarten.
yeah.
This kid next to me, and he said this like Chunk from the Goonies. Remember that? Anyway, tell us from the beginning. Oh, when I was in kindergarten, my teacher. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, not that beginning, you idiot.
Tell us everything. Everything.
Okay, I'll talk. In third grade, I cheated on my history exam.
But yeah, tell
Yeah.
us how it went down, and incorporate your social media aspect of it along the way.
Definitely. So I'll start with, I can start in high school, and we can kind of fast forward through some of the insignificant parts.
Okay.
But it all adds up. I mean, it's all kind of who I am. So growing up, I love basketball. Like who didn't love playing basketball? And if you went back to like 5th grade and you look at my assignments where it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I wanted to be in the NBA. Like I feel like every
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
says that, and it's like you want to do those things. So that this part of the story initially starts freshman year in high school. Like everybody else, there's 1,000 kids that try out for the basketball team. Oh yeah, I'm gonna play basketball. Long story short, I get cut from the basketball team, and it was like one of the most devastating things ever. It's like, what? Like I've never been rejected before. I've never been cut. So it's like I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, you have that in common with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
and that's the funny thing. Everyone used to say like, "Oh, don't worry, Michael Jordan got cut." And then for me, it was like, no, like Michael Jordan as a freshman got cut from varsity. I got cut from the freshman basketball team. Like it was like I didn't play basketball
Yeah,
like,
that's
for
a
my
good
high
point.
school at all. So like I talked to my algebra teacher because he was the basketball coach, and I was like, hey, I'm really serious about this basketball thing. What do I need to do? You get that cookie cutter, work hard, keep trying. You were really good, and you'll be on the team. And I took that to heart. Like, that summer that I was practicing in the rain. I was like practicing with the lights off. My mom would go to this park above our neighborhood, and the lights would shut off at a certain time. So she would like park her car and turn the high beams on just so I could like practice.
Wow.
And I remember running track just to stay in shape for uh, basketball. So come sophomore year, I'm like ready to go. Like I worked really hard.
Quick shout out to moms.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
that's pretty great. Mom was there turning
Yeah.
the high beams on for you late at night when
in the
there were no
rain,
lights.
Mom,
in the
yeah,
rain.
she was out there all the time. So it's
That's
like
awesome.
we're making it happen. So come sophomore year, like I'm ready to go. And I get to the tryout, and it came down to me and one kid, and it was like devastating because one of the kids on the varsity basketball team knew I was getting cut, and he was in my art class. So the day of the last day of the tryout, I knew I wasn't gonna make the team, and it was like I was like, I'm still gonna give it my all and try the best. So sophomore year I get cut, and this time, rather than kind of being like heartbroken, I'm just more like frustrated. I'm mad. Like I did everything that was
Yeah.
asked, and I was like, so I had all this passion, all this energy, and I didn't know where to put it. And I just told myself that day, I was like, fine. I was doing this track thing to stay in shape. Now this is gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna focus on track and field, and I'm gonna prove them wrong kind of
Yeah.
vibe. So
Right.
sophomore year, like I'm one of the best, I guess, high jumpers on my team, and that's about it. I was like third in the league. I wasn't anything special. By my junior year, I broke the school record in the triple jump. I'm one of the top high jumpers and triple jumpers in my section. By my senior year, I broke both school records. I'm number one in the state.
Nice.
I get a scholarship to UCLA, and like
Nice.
I took all that energy, and I kind of, rather than like held onto this grudge, I just put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, I go to UCLA. I have the time of my life. I really fall in love with track and field at that time. I graduate from college, a degree in psychology, 2011. 2012, the Olympics are coming up. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a year off, and I want to train for the Olympic trials.
Oh, sweet.
I qualify for the Olympic trials. I get to the Olympic trials, and I take 17th place. So it was essentially, it's a failure, but getting to that spot was,
Yeah, way to fail. You
Yeah.
made it to the Olympic trials. What a loser.
Yeah.
Loser, you made it to the Olympics.
Man,
So-
made it to the Olympic trials,
Olympic trials, yeah.
and you're like, you didn't make it in the top 10. Man, are you one pathetic loser.
At the time, I definitely felt like that. But looking back now, I got to a very elite level. So
Yeah, and any reasonable person would say, yeah, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So now I'm at a point. It's 2012, and I have this like passion for sports, and I don't know what to do with it. So, and I was kind of devastated with the whole not making the team. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a full-time job. I'm done with sports. I'm gonna just be a regular, 9 to 5 type guy.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
Spider-Man throwing in the towel.
I remember talking to my coach, and he was like, all right, I'll see you in 6 months. And I kind of got mad at him when he said that. Like, I'll see you in 6 months. I was like, no, I'm done. But I started working, and then I found myself like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym. I just want to stay in shape a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, 3 months later, it's like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm waking up like unprovoked, going to the gym, like squatting like 300 plus pounds, like sweating, like dying. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I really doing? And then I knew, like, after that point, I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna go back into sports. So I moved back to LA, and I'm like, I wanna give track a go. I thought that's what it was gonna be. So I get a gym membership to LA Fitness, and I start playing. Like, LA Fitness has basketball courts at the gym. It's like, all right, I'll play basketball to warm up.
Some pickup games.
Yeah, play some pickup games and warm up.
Just warm
So
up.
I'm doing that, and then like after games, like everyone's like standing around, and like people are trying to dunk and they're missing. I'm just like, I was like, no, I got this. So I started doing dunks, and then from there it's like, then I would go lift, and then fast forward 2 months, now it's like I go to the gym, I just play pickup and I dunk, and then I leave, and then like 2 months after that, I just go to the gym and I'm just dunking. And like it kind of just
Turned into
naturally
this
turned
thing.
over. And then like at the time when I first started doing it, Instagram didn't post videos yet. Instagram was still pictures. So like the first time I did a between the legs dunk, it's actually 9. It's a video that I took 9 screenshots of, and I
Okay.
put them together. And I
Oh,
was like,
nice.
look, I just got a between the legs dunk. And then Instagram started. Instagram started doing videos, and then once I started doing videos and I started posting dunks, I noticed like my following was like at the time it was like 600 followers, and then like you know now it's becoming 800. Now like I broke 1,000, and now I'm starting,
Yeah.
1,000 became 3,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wow, this is crazy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to like build fans, and then all of a sudden like 3,000 is 5 is 8, and now I'm like hooked, because then it's like you start to
Yeah.
fall in love with like that engagement, and like now I have fans, and like you go to Target for the first time, and it's like, oh yeah, you're that dude who posted the dunk that I saw, and it's like, oh man, that's
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 cool.
that's
That's the
so
best
cool.
feeling,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like from there, I think like before I cracked 10K, I finally got invited to my first dunk contest, and I didn't know like this dunk world existed. So like you go to like
The underworld of dunking.
Yes.
definitely it's like you go in, and it's like there's certain names, and you see names like Young Hollywood and Air Dog and like all the TFB guys, so like the Team Flight Brothers and Dunkademics, and like you're starting to get into this like, oh wow, that's this guy and that's this guy, and then you
Nice.
start to build your name too, and then like I'd say now we're at like 2014, 2015. Like I got my first invitation like for a dunk contest. They were gonna fly me to Vegas, and they were gonna pay me. And I was gonna like they're gonna give me shoes and give me a jersey, and
Just explain to me the magnitude of that, because I mean, we're talking about, look, just being able to share an image or series of images, you can do that now and all of a sudden have a huge fan base.
definitely.
That was not something that was possible when I was a kid. I mean, no way. It's like,
Yeah, so like especially when I first started, they're gonna fly me out, they're gonna pay me, they're gonna give me shoes, like because they send you an email like what's your shoe size, and it's like, wait, what? I'm gonna get shoes? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't have to pay for my shoes to be in this contest. I don't have like everything was paid for, and it was an amazing experience because it kind of validated in a sense all the work that I was putting in to kind of
Yeah.
build
Yeah.
this brand.
well, yeah, it seems like the work you were putting in wasn't necessarily to be on the team in high
Yeah.
school.
Definitely.
The work you were putting in, you didn't know it at the time, but the work you were putting in was to set you up so later on down the road, you could be JClark the dunker. So you could get invited to these things and participate in these things and inspire youth and all the things that you're doing now. So sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes the things that you think you're prepping for, you think you're lifting for this, you think you're training for that. In reality, what you're trying to achieve is just maybe a few more months down the line or a couple years down the line, and it's greater than you could have ever even imagined.
1,000%. I truly believe everything happens for a reason. And you could look back, and sometimes I've done it where I'll play out scenarios like what would have happened had I made the team. I probably wouldn't have appreciated making the team, and I probably wouldn't have worked as hard as I did
Mhm.
throughout
Right.
high school, throughout college, or let's say I would have made the team and I would have been like, okay, I don't want to do track because I want to focus on being a basketball player. And now I've blocked my blessing to go to UCLA, or
Right.
you know, even within that story, I end up, getting a call. One of the coolest calls I ever got was from the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And, I get an invite. They're like, hey, we want you to come out this summer and try out for the team. And initially I was like nervous because I was like, oh no, here we go, another basketball tryout.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Great. Here, I'm going to get
yeah.
cut again by
So
the Harlem Globetrotters.
So like I get there, and, long story short, I made the team.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, when I made the team, it was one of those things where it's like I got cut from my high school basketball team, and now I get to travel the world as a professional basketball player
Yeah.
doing like the exact thing that I
Right.
got cut from. So it was
One of
like
the most well-known groups
one
ever.
of one
yeah.
of the
Oh,
most
yeah.
illustrious teams ever, and it was kind of
There are some pro teams that aren't as well known as the Globetrotters.
yeah, and it's such a crazy thing to kind of experience. So I like you were saying, you're right. It's truly everything happens for a reason, and I'm definitely like
That's so cool.
blessed.
That's a really cool story, man. And you're a spiritual person too, right? I mean,
Yes.
you're Christian.
Christian, yes.
I mean, from a spiritual aspect too. I mean, that tracks. It's like you don't know what God has in store for you, and He might be preparing you in a way or in a time that you can't foresee. Only He can foresee.
1000%. And
Yeah.
and like how we said, like those, like that was all of a part of my, my test, all a part of my journey, and if you will, for me, a lot of it is like it's not only like, because everybody wants to praise God when they win. It's really
Right.
nice to you want to shout them out. I won, and I'm gonna throw up something because it's cool. But it's like, are you willing to have faith when everything is going bad? Are you willing? And that was kind of
Yeah.
once again, shout out to my mom. When
Yeah.
I was going through like my darkest times, like things weren't going well, you know, uh, from the Lord's prayer, "Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done." Everything happens for a reason, and it's not your plan. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
you've always heard it. Like I always tell the joke, like you want to make God laugh, set plans and like say this, So
Yeah.
it's like it's not.
See what really happened.
Yeah, so it's like and I look back and laugh at all the things that are happening to me now. If I could go back and talk to like 15-year-old me, and it's like, dude, like don't even stress about this.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everything's just keep working hard, keep having faith, and everything will take care of itself. You're gonna be golden. So it's like one of those things. Like, I mean, we look at the name Unlikely Story. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I got cut from my basketball team twice. Like,
Yeah.
not like I never wore a high school basketball jersey.
Yeah.
I have, almost, I think across all my social media platforms, I have like over 500,000 followers, and it's like they know me just for those things. And
Yeah.
it's like kind of it's the craziest thing. So it's
Yeah.
just like you kind of have to, like, you have to be able to roll with the punches. You kind of have to, like, have a plan, have goals and things that you want to do, but like,
Yeah. Certainly. Certainly, the goals you had were what you were aiming for.
yeah,
And you do need to work towards stuff.
Well, it's like your shirt. Do the impossible.
Do the
Yeah,
impossible.
it's
There you
do
go.
the
perfect.
impossible.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
literally your story
I mean-
captured in a catchphrase there.
And it's cool. We love hearing these kinds of stories. We
Absolutely.
have our story is similar. Like we made this Gallows movie for nothing, and like just 8 of us. We had our 4 actors, Chris and I, and then we had Rich from Rich Media.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we had Tyler Smith, one of the greatest flag football receivers on the planet. He's fantastic.
Yeah, it's very much in line with,
And it
our
had this
story and
great
a lot of
results,
people's.
And you guys are on it's on HBO now, right?
HBO Max
HBO
has
Max? There you
has
go.
the first Gallows on it.
Yeah.
Prime has Gallows 2 on it, and then Prey, this other movie we did, Prey,
And then Held is on Hulu right
Held's
now.
on Hulu. It's one of the
Okay.
most
Yeah.
popular movies. Held, one of the most popular movies on Hulu right now.
There you go.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, you mentioned your mom, and they're speaking of parents. I mean, you're a dad now, right?
Yes.
Talk
yes,
talk
I
to us
am.
about juggling
Let
your
me
job.
let me
and-
just say this real quick with regards to moms and regard to the spirituality we've been talking about. God moves through moms,
Oh, 1000%.
especially moms that take it serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Despite any struggles, God works with mothers.
Yeah.
So for me, I would encourage anyone who's thinking about being a mom to just know that God will be with you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? God will be
Definitely.
with you. Anyway, just wanted to do a little
I like that.
shout out
Yes.
on that. You
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean? Like,
Yes.
and now you as a father,
Yes.
you can take those things you learned from your mom and apply them into your life, into your family, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit more.
Definitely. So, my son, Jonathan Lewis Clark V, had to keep the name going, the tradition.
That's right.
We call him Cinco.
Love it.
Um,
Cinco.
yeah. So he's 20 months old. He's a full quarantine baby. So he was born January 2020. So right before the quarantine hit.
Wow.
And he's already been studying the YouTube algorithm.
There you go. He's already on top of it.
He's an analyst for YouTube.
There you go. No, it's been amazing. It's been one of the things, like, especially with quarantine, when everything was really happening. That was the biggest blessing in disguise, because I was home and I got to watch him grow up every single day.
Oh yeah.
So it's still, mind blowing coming home and seeing him grow every single day. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
you look so different.
Yeah.
I remember when you were like this big, and now it's it's this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just a little
He was just
basketball
a
at
little-
once.
yeah.
Just a little basketball.
And it's funny because he's into basketball, and my wife and I have been really adamant about letting him be him and not putting those expectations on. But basketball comes on and he can sit down and watch it. He has the Fisher Price hoop, and
Okay.
he wants it raised to the highest level.
Yeah,
When he was really really young, and my wife would go on walks in the stroller, sometimes she would like park him in the shade, and he would sit there and watch me dunk. So I'd be outside dunking, and he'd watch, and he'd get really happy when I make it. So it's like
Nice.
now it's like you see him he'll run up to the hoop, and like he's not coordinated enough yet, which is fine. I'm trying my hardest not to force it. Like, like I don't want to be out there coaching him, but it's like he runs up and he just jumps and then throws the ball at the rim.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see because it's something that he loves. And I think if it's something that he continues to want to do, I think that it'll be an amazing like connection that we can have.
Oh, and he could be so great at it too.
Oh.
Like, I mean, think about when you started in your journey
yeah.
versus what the exposure he's getting now at a year old. It's
Definitely.
like,
And
that's
but
amazing.
The big thing that I want to make sure is that he finds his own thing and he's happy with it. But I would be lying if I didn't say like I would love for him to like
I mean, come on.
post a little windmill video slow mo on his Fisher Price hoop. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
and a lot of people follow suit in their family businesses, or
Definitely.
lives.
Yeah.
If they're inspired. Some parents may take it a little too far, and then the kids end up splitting the opposite direction. But
Definitely.
even in movies, there's a lot.
Like that kid bodybuilder. Remember that?
Oh yeah, the kid bodybuilder.
Remember that kid?
I don't know if you remember that kid. We'll post.
Kid Hercules. Remember that?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The
Kid
little kid with like
Hercules.
that.
Yeah, he was all ripped.
like, yeah.
He was yoked, dude. That dude had an 8-pack.
I think
and
his parents actually like got in trouble for child abuse. 'cause
I think
he was
they
like-
did.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm pretty sure he's fat now.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like hanging out, like whatever.
That won't be JClark's
He,
son.
he did enough working out at 3 years old for everybody
He's like
for a
Ben-
lifetime.
He's like Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball now, like, or at the end of Heavyweights, an even better movie way back.
God, Heavyweights.
love that movie.
Classic.
So
Classic.
good.
Come on, you devil.
Ben Stiller's parents were both actors
Yep.
as well. But
Yeah.
Jerry Stiller, he just recently passed away
Hollywood's full of
too.
family
Drew Barrymore,
business.
tons of them. I found out recently Zoe Deschanel's dad was the DP for The Natural with Robert Redford. I had no idea. Like, that was an incredible movie for me when Robert Redford was the baseball movie, The Natural. That movie was insane. Anyway, I just thought, man, that's so cool. But there's so many connections, and kids get better or can get better than even their parents
Because
were.
you've seen all the things and
Because of the earlier exposure.
You get
Yeah.
the exposure, you kind of get the insights, you get the like, hey, if I were for my son, let's say he starts getting into dunking at I don't know, super early age of like, I don't know, 12.
8
Yeah.
years
Like,
old. 8
you
years old.
like I'd say like, yo, if I could go back in time and I was 12, this is what I would do.
Right.
If you really want to get to this level, start doing this. Or
Yeah.
I could see things like,
Yeah.
hey, don't worry about this because I had my growth spurt when I was this. So don't so you get all the intricacies that your parents, all the mistakes that I've gone through, you get to just move
Yeah.
past
Oh,
those.
even and like when we were filming the scene in the park for this this pitch that we're doing, my son, like it's like I always envisioned him as this character. I knew he could pull it off. We could practice with him, rehearse, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And he nailed his part, and he's nailed it every time. So for him though, how many like young kids get a chance to perform like that in
At that
a
level.
kind of an environment that's more friendly and warm
Yeah.
rather than like going in cold, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like by the
definitely.
time he's a young adult, he'll be like, which he's kind of already there, but he'll be ready to, like, he'll know the jargon, he'll know the terminology, he'll know where the camera is without having to be told 1,000 times by
Yeah.
someone off screen. It's like
Yeah.
he'll know the motions.
You get all the practice.
And he could be a much better actor or director than even I, if that's the direction he wants to go.
Got you.
But it's our job as dads
Definitely.
to give the best example we can.
Of course.
Share the most love we can.
Of course.
And let them do their thing.
Let them figure it out. But still a little bit of guidance.
Just
Yeah.
a little,
Yeah.
just a little nudge,
Little
maybe.
bit of that. There you go.
not gonna hurt.
Definitely.
Well, that brings me to an interesting topic when you're talking about The Natural. JClark, what are some of your favorite sports movies or shows, like
Yeah.
sports content that you watch?
Okay, so
Sports in general, and then we
sport-
can
yeah.
delve into basketball.
Yeah.
So I would say my favorite genre in sports are probably sports documentaries.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for, you know, overcoming obstacles, happy ending type thing. So like
Yeah.
some of the more recent ones that I've seen that I really love, Breaking 2. It was about breaking the 2 hour barrier in the marathon.
Oh, okay.
It's on I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it's Disney Plus
Okay.
Got it.
has that one. What is that Danny Way? It's something like Bottle in the Lightning or something like
Lightning in a bottle?
lightning something
It's a
along
reverse.
the,
They
some,
kind of,
something
Yeah.
along the lines. It's Danny Way, skateboarder, and he's
like
jumping the Great Wall of China.
oh,
You got
yeah.
look up the name of that. I really love that documentary. So what it is like it chronicles that week of him preparing to do the jump in the Great Wall of China,
Waiting for lightning?
waiting for lightning.
Okay.
And then throughout it tells like his life story
Okay.
and like all the traumas that he's gone through, and like, you know, it almost follows a movie, which makes it crazy because it's a documentary. So it's like you have that, like, you know, that adversity that he has to overcome within this like live documentary.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you get over, and I don't know the movie terminology per se. I took one class at UCLA, which was like a screenwriting class, and I know
Yeah.
it was like
Okay.
you have you introduce the character, you
Yep.
put the character in the problem,
Yep.
you know, that changes the character, and then like I don't know if I'm like
No, you're
butchering
doing
it, but
good.
if
You're doing
I did get an A in that class, but I feel bad. I
Like
don't
he's saying it's
remember.
an easy A. You guys, what you're doing
It was-
is
it was-
so easy.
But when he so it's like he like sprains his ankle, and I don't want to give away the documentary because it's such a good one, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
those styles of documentaries, I really just, you know, I love those movies. In terms of like
Did you catch The Last Dance?
I've seen that probably like 5 times.
Oh, so good.
And it's like it's on Netflix, and it lives on Netflix, so it's like anytime I like, that's probably one of my go-to, like when I have nothing
Yeah.
else to do, like I'll watch that. There's another one, it's about the Dream Team.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
It's on like the NBA channel.
Okay.
I've seen that like 5 times as well, and it's like I could watch.
We were talking about trying to do a doc with you. It
Definitely.
never materialized.
It
but,
hasn't. There's still time though.
There's still time. But
still time.
you did break a record recently.
I did, yes.
Yes.
We'll
Let's
get
talk
into that
about
later.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
You want to do that now?
Well, let's in terms of those are good docs. Any movies that stand out
Yeah,
for you
movies.
from your childhood or any favorite movies? You know,
basketball. What was the basketball?
Baseball was funny.
Okay.
I wouldn't put that in my like.
yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's probably terrible.
Basketball. It was
Funny, but-
it was definitely a great movie to watch when I was in college.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in college. You're with a group of friends. Glory Road, Coach Carter.
Yep.
I actually have from in Coach Carter when he's referring to the poem, what's your greatest fear?
Mhm.
Our greatest fear, is not that we're inadequate, that we're powerful beyond measure. I have like a tattoo that says powerful,
nice.
Yeah.
powerful beyond measure.
I love that.
So like that, that one stuck with me. Space Jam.
Oh,
it's
yeah, it's
classic.
classic.
How did you like the new one compared to the old one?
So, and I must be weird when I watch movies, and especially now that I've gotten older, I don't watch it with the comparison of like, this has to hold up to the feeling that I had when I was 6 years old and I watched Space Jam. It was like,
Yeah.
I kind of watched it from almost like a dad's perspective with my son,
Yeah.
and he's too young to process Space Jam.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
They paid tribute to the old Space Jam, but it was its own thing.
Yeah.
And it still had the same kind of storyline, and it like I enjoyed it. Was it Space Jam to me? No, it wasn't
Yeah.
Space Jam. But was it like I respect the fact that it wasn't trying to be
Your Space Jam.
my Space Jam. Because
Yeah.
my Space Jam is my Space Jam. This is their Space Jam. They
Space Jam for the
hopefully
new generation.
hopefully they enjoyed their Space Jam, and it's like, when they look back at my Space Jam, it's like, oh, that's the old one, and this is the
Right.
so it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Would I call it a classic in my opinion? Not necessarily, but it wasn't a bad movie. It was definitely, I enjoyed
I
watching
actually
Space
think
Jam.
that's a good point. Like, there's a lot of reboots and sequels that are made nowadays that I think get a little bit of unfair criticism because, like, back in the day, people would have said the same things about your
What?
Space Jam,
Yeah.
and would have been like, "This is garbage. This is just for kids or
If
whatever."
it had been a
But
reboot.
well, no, I mean, even on originals, I think when you're a kid and you grow up with a movie or something,
Yeah.
you become attached to it in a way that's kind of hard to explain,
Yeah.
even if the movie's not that good.
Yeah,
And it becomes special to you. You know?
Yeah.
some movies that you saw as a kid, you go back and you watch them, you're like,
Oh, yeah.
I like that
Yeah,
garbage. But then there's some
exactly.
that stand the test of time.
I
Definitely.
feel like
Stand the
there
test
are
of
some reboots though that will become that for this generation
Yes.
now, and don't necessarily deserve all the criticism they get for being
True.
technically inadequate or whatever it is.
Definitely.
We can be overly harsh.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes harsh but fair.
Our
but
our
overly
sound
harsh.
designer for both of these movies did Space Jam, the
Really?
new one. Yeah.
Okay.
He
And we're gonna have him on a podcast upcoming as well.
he was actually working on Held right here while he was working on Space Jam
That's
2.
crazy.
He took a break from it to work on
Well,
our
it
movie.
happened right around the
Kinda
time
the
of the
same time.
pandemic. So
Oh,
like
okay.
there was a lot of uncertainty with just everything, everything. But filmmaking, and he was like, I don't know, like people are being furloughed, I'm doing this and that, and like I'm gonna be working from home on some things, and I'm kind of taking a break for a couple weeks, but I could jump on yours. Let's go for it, And
Yeah.
so it was kind of interesting to see the process. Kind of things got delayed, but it was a perfect window for us to get our movie Held done. And the sound design is amazing, as always is with the work he's done. But stay tuned for a future episode where we have Brandon Jones
Yeah,
on,
it's gonna be good.
because he's
That's
a
awesome.
great guy.
Well, we're going to take a few of the live questions that have been coming in. We've been receiving a few here. So, have you always practiced jumping off all plants? Left
Ooh.
foot, right foot?
There we go.
left or right
That's a
foot?
dunk specific question.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what they're asking, typically when you dunk, right, you have a certain style of dunk. A lot of people find their style and then they stick with it. So a lot of people jump better off of 1 foot, so they'll just run up and dunk. And that's how they do most of their dunks. Like Zach Levine. Zach Levine is a 1 foot jumper. All the dunks that you saw in the dunk contest were all off 1 foot.
Okay.
Aaron Gordon he jumped off a 2. All the dunks you saw were off a 2. One thing that makes me very unique in the dunk community is I can do all plants. I've mastered, like, I can jump off of my left, I can jump off my right, I can go right left, I can go left right, or I don't need any steps. So like
That's awesome.
That's great. That's
Uh,
great. I mean, that's true.
it's
That's true.
it's cool to say, but like from a contest standpoint, most people don't realize it, so it doesn't matter. But for me, like, no, I haven't always done it. I think from playing basketball, I had to just be able to adapt. And then from there, like when I just had sessions, I practiced it. And I just got to a point where I've been doing this for a really long time now. Then
I feel like
more
that's
practice.
like snowboarding. When I watch snowboarding in the Olympics, it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, that was a front side,
They'd probably say
reverse,
switch or fakie or something like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, dude. And everyone's like, wait, what? He did a trick, and it's like, no, but
It's technically difficult.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I am not left-handed.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, like, I don't think you know something that I know.
Yeah.
I am not left-handed. And so then they start doing stuff with the right hand. It's like, oh, crud. Like,
Reminds me of that quote from Big Hero 6 where he's like talking about his underwear. He's like, I go front, I go back,
back.
I go
then I go inside out.
Inside out.
And then front, and then back. And then I wash them. Like after wearing the same pair for like, that was a funny bit in that movie.
Here's a question from Noe_721. I like this one. What's the worst excuse you've ever heard from someone not following their dreams?
What's the worst excuse? Oh man, that's a crazy question. That's crazy. I think it would have to be something along like not having time. I think there's this weird misconception with not having enough time to do something, and especially now that I get older, and as I continue to get older, and I'm still in this community. My first between the legs dunk, which is a very basic dunk in the pro dunker realm, I was 23 years old. There's 16-year-old kids now on the internet that are like doing those in middle of basketball games.
Wow.
There's like 8th graders that are getting to the point that they can do that type of dunk. And I was 23. So like saying you don't have enough time is probably one of the biggest excuses. You're not prioritizing.
Just generally, that's the
Yeah.
biggest excuse of anything. I mean, it's like, you don't have the time. You got the same amount of time as that other guy.
Yeah.
1000%.
And as
That is an excuse I hear often as I get older too. That annoys me more when I hear, especially people younger than me, saying that, because like I don't even have kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a busy guy. Like
Yeah.
I fill my time like to the max.
Yeah.
And I don't have kids. So if I, I can't even imagine you having a, a 1 almost 2-year-old. It's
Yeah.
like you don't have much time, and
Definitely.
yet you devote that time that you do have.
You make the time.
You make it.
And that's the thing. I think when if it's something you really want to do, you're gonna find a way to make it happen.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't mind people saying they don't have time as much as I mind people saying they don't have time, but they really wish they could do it.
Yeah.
Like we talk with people that are like, oh, I really want to make narrative content instead of just commercials.
Yeah.
Like I'm sick of doing commercials for this car company, for the casino, for the whatever. I really want to write something and a story and tell a narrative story. And then it's like, okay, cool. Like maybe we could help you, And then they just go back to doing the commercials.
Yeah.
Because like they're not willing to step outside of what they're comfortable doing
1000%.
to make that difference in their lives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a risk. You have to take that leap of faith. You have to step away from what you're comfortable doing in order to achieve something better than what you're getting.
Definitely.
That's just the rule. That's
Definitely.
the laws of physics. It's the laws of spirituality. It's the
Yeah.
laws of the universe.
Something
make time.
I feel like I mentioned in the beginning, but I didn't stress or overly put a point on. But I want to say again, JClark, you're also a teacher. You're a
Yeah.
high school teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you teach again?
So right now I'm teaching physical education.
Okay.
So I teach freshmen and sophomores PE. I'm dual credentialed. So before I was a high school PE teacher, I was a middle school science teacher. So I'm dual credentialed in foundational level science and physical education. I got my master's degree in kinesiology with an emphasis in PE. So initially, like PE was like what I wanted to do. Like
Right.
I'm an athlete. I enjoy being outdoors. Like I love like we're doing football unit. Like I played football for 4 hours today. Like that was what I did for work. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm living the dream. On top of PE, I coach track and field and cross country.
Nice.
And we're in cross country season right now.
Didn't we get a question regarding coaching basketball?
There
at
was one
Bullard?
more question here.
Oh, there I got that one.
Yeah, why don't you coach Bullard basketball?
But I don't coach bullet basketball because I am the head cross country and
Yeah.
track and field coach.
He's
Speaking
too
of
busy.
not having time,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's too busy.
But no, the program is run really well. I really support those guys. I love basketball, but I'm more of a fan from the whole experience of like trying out and not making the team. Like I enjoy it from afar. I don't want to like devote my time to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I enjoy track and field. I enjoy cross country, and then I enjoy dunking. So it's
There's a great photo of you on Instagram. We'll flash it up here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. It's a picture of you dunking, and you look like you're in your regular teacher getup, like
Yeah.
your button-up shirt
Yeah,
and
yeah,
your
yeah.
khakis or whatever. And you're
Like you got challenged by
Yeah.
a student.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
what? You dunk? Yeah, right, teach.
I think it's like it totally encapsulates you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It gets that side of you, the teacher side, the fun, energetic, people
I saw-
person side.
I saw that news story, I think, a few years ago,
okay.
or whenever it came out, and I was just like, that guy just looks like he's having the best time. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably the funnest teacher on campus. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just great.
And we haven't specified yet, JClark, what the world record that you recently set. And
Yes.
is it more than one? I want to hear about this, the recent world record.
So the most recent world record was a record. I actually broke my own record. So it's for a vertical dunk. So we were talking about all the plants. One of the dunks plants that I specialize is vertical. So no running start, no movement. You just straight from the ground,
up.
jump straight up and dunk. It's the highest rim from a vertical dunk, which is 11 feet. So I broke my previous record was 10 feet. I think it was 10-11 or 10-10, and I was like, I gotta get to 11.
Yeah.
And I went to Utah this summer for dunk camp,
Mhm.
and shout out to Lifetime Hoops. They built a custom hoop that goes up to 12.3.
Oh,
nice.
So
That's great.
they set it to 11. They measured it, and it was like went up.
This
took-
one goes
it-
to
yeah.
11.
This one goes to 11. Dial it up to 11. Way to go, Lifetime Hoops.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and they told me it's funny because they told me like It's always going to be here in Utah if you ever want to go back, because the current world record for just overall highest dunk is 12 feet. So outdoors is 11 feet 8 inches, and I actually broke that one. So I have the outdoor record, I have the vertical record, and I don't have the all-time record, which is 12 feet. But it's a big bucket list goal, so I want to go 12-1 at least.
Yeah.
But it goes up to 12-3. So
That's
if I get
awesome.
up to 12-3,
I was
that'd
going
be
to
really
ask
cool.
you what the next goal is. What
Oh
the
yeah,
next
so
one is.
that's
it.
That's
Huh?
probably, I think.
That's the doc right there,
Yeah,
breaking 12.
That's see, there you go.
Yep,
now
that's
like
right.
Yeah.
we're putting it together.
Yep.
It has to happen now.
This is what's going to play at the start of the doc right here. The
Instead
planning
of
phase.
talking
Yeah.
about it, I just planted it. and made
Breaking
it.
12. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Breaking 12.
Nice.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, that's so freaking high in the air. As
That's
someone
high.
who is 5 foot tall, that's two and a half of me. It's
Oh
so
man,
tough.
that's 2 of me. I'm 6 foot, and 1 inch or
yeah,
so.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah,
I
man.
love that though, man. That's awesome. That's so cool. And that was just recently, right? That was within the last like month or so.
That was in August.
August.
Okay.
August. So yeah, super.
We'll have to throw
super
some
recent.
pictures and videos up from that.
There you go. It was a fun. It's been a fun summer. Like I'm really shocked at all the things I was able to accomplish.
The cinematography,
There you
the
go.
marketing, the virality, the social
Yes.
media.
content.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Like, tell us your journey there. Like,
Okay, so I mean, like I said, the big thing started when Instagram allowed video, and for me, most of my content lived there. And at the time, like Instagram was like the hot new app. It was kind of taking over Facebook. So
was that 2015, 2016-ish?
so even before
no,
then,
that was
before then, so
20
like 2012,
2013.
2013 is when they really started to.
Because we had we were filming the galas in 2011, into 2012,
Yeah.
that December. And we had an actress in the original who was like, "Oh, Instagram, it's this thing that's coming." And I was like,
Oh,
"I
yeah.
have no idea what
Yeah.
this is."
It was the same exact thing. I was training for the Olympic trials, and I was a volunteer assistant coach at UCLA. And one of my athletes was like, "Yeah, there's this new app, Instagram. Like you post pictures, and like people like your pictures." And I like made one, and I like took a picture of like a backpack or something. I think if you go back to like my first photo, something random. It was like
Yeah.
very random, and like she was like, "That's not how you do it." Like, oh,
There's still a lot that
yeah.
needs explaining with
Yeah,
Instagram.
I was like,
and posts.
oh, what is this? So then like you start to figure it out. You start to learn the app and
Build
stuff
on
like
it,
that.
yeah.
And then so from there, I remember like, it's one of those things where like, especially kind of looking back now, it's like you really get obsessed with kind of like the engagement. So it's like I liked when I was like, oh man, this
Overly obsessed in
yeah.
many cases.
Oh, definitely. This like, oh, this got 100 likes. Like, oh yeah.
100.
And it's like some like I'm getting pictures, and then once the dunking stuff started, that's when it really started to like blow up.
Yeah.
And like then I get like I remember I did a dunk. So I did it was a vertical dunk between the legs from no step. So I just stood under the rim and I just jumped and I put the ball between my legs and I dunked it. And like that went crazy. And then people started to take that video and then they posted it. So then that's when I really started to get a taste of like, oh, this is what viral is. So it's like
Yeah.
people started
Sharing it.
posting my videos, and I was like, oh, this is sick. Like, and then you get hooked on that, and then it's like, I just want to do the next big dunk. And then
Right.
I remember I met up with a guy, Billy Duran, who runs Dunkademics, and he was like, yo, we're gonna film a dunk session, and then I'm gonna post it. And in that session, I did a backflip. I did a round off back handspring, and I dunked it, and like. Not only was everybody posting it, like ESPN posted, they posted an article where they posted the clip, and I'm like,
Dang, dude.
oh, this is crazy. And like they're tagging my Instagram account, and now we're looking at like I have like 3,000 followers, and now it's like I have 5,000 followers. It's like what? Like this is crazy. And then from there,
Where'd that kid that got cut from the team go?
Yeah.
I don't even see that kid
Yeah, I don't
anymore.
see him
Like I don't
anymore.
even see him anymore.
So what's your most like viral clip to date that you know of?
If I had to say, it was probably on Instagram. Man, it's crazy. I think it was probably initially when I did the splits dunk for the first time. Because
Okay.
the way it was filmed, like Billy was like laying down in the middle of the floor, and I ran up, and it was like in slow mo. So I jumped up and I did the splits, and I did a reverse pump and I dunked it,
That's
and it was just
great.
like super unique.
We
And
use
it
that in the marketing for this one.
Yeah.
That
And
shot of you doing it.
oh
with your
yeah,
leg-
yeah. So, but it was so the first time I did that dunk.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
that was so now like the picture that you guys use is like.
Now you know how to pose.
Yeah, so
you got
that was
the, you got the
definitely,
high,
there's definitely like it's like I'm looking at the
that
camera,
high
like,
resolution.
you got the look.
Playing to the people now.
Definitely.
Have you learned a lot about that? Like where
Definitely.
you set the camera, where you set
Oh.
your phone. Like, did you ever do one where you like it fell over and you're like, dang it, I got to do it again?
1,000%. I
Yeah.
think you learn as you, especially how I said like for dunkers, as much as it is, athleticism, it's about content creation. So it's really about like, all right, where you set your camera, how's the lighting. I've seen guys post some of the like. There's a dunker, Jordan Sutherland. He took the ball and he bounced it on this. He took with his right hand. He bounced it on the left side of his body, and he bounced it this way. So the ball passes his body as
and
he
then
jumps, and he catches it in midair on a bounce, and he dunks it. And he uses like an older iPhone, poorly lit room, and like the slow mo. So like it was like the fluorescent lights. So it was like
the
flicker.
flashing,
It was
yeah.
flickering.
Yeah.
But like when he posted it, like I'm losing my mind because I know what he did. I saw the dunk. It's crazy, but like the general public didn't receive that dunk well, and it's like wow, like that's and like that was when it really reaffirmed like. And I've seen guys do some basic dunks, but it's like really recorded well, nice slow mo angle, and it's like people are going crazy, like, "Oh, that looks so sick." So it's like
It's not just the dunk; it's the look.
Yeah.
it's definitely
It's the presentation.
Same thing in contests. Like a lot of times in contests, guys really focus. I used to be guilty of this. I would go out and do the most technical dunks ever. Like I can go to a contest and do like let's say there's 6 dunks in a contest. I would do 6 dunks that no other person in that room
Could
like
even
no other person
attempt.
on the earth can do.
Yeah.
And I would lose the contest and I'd be really upset. And then now recently, like I'll go do a contest and I'll have so much fun because I'll do like very simple dunks, but you dress it up really
You
well. and
showboat
everyone-
it. Yeah.
Everyone goes
You jump
crazy.
over 3 people
Oh,
to do it. It's
Definitely.
like, oh, that's
It's
a simple dunk.
Oh, definitely. And it's like now, like it's you really gotta put that entertainment aspect in
Yeah.
everything that you do.
Yeah.
And I was watching a video of Kobe, and that was one of the things Kobe was talking about, just like storytelling, and that was kind of one of the big things. It's like you really got to be able to sell what you're doing. You got to be able to like dress it up and
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
sparkle and present it well.
That makes sense. And what's cool about dunking too, just inherently, it's so bite sized, so watchable in just like a
Yeah.
split second, 3 second clip.
It's such a viral moment.
Which
or-
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like perfect for today's consumer, right? Like
Definitely.
when people are watching stuff literally in like 3 second increments
Definitely.
or whatever, like a dunk is like choice for that. So
Yeah.
that's cool how you kind of have learned to fine tune the art of the dunk, not only physically but also for the content and for the video
Definitely.
side.
I
I mean, I
want-
know you when you shot that one with Batch, you were lining up the angles, you were getting that low angle and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and you
Yeah.
shot all that yourself.
Yeah, and he honestly,
and he was really
I would say
brilliant with it too. Yeah.
he killed that. And that
Yeah.
was funny because when we initially started talking, from idea to finish, it was probably like 20 minutes. Like, and that was in between shooting stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was blown away for me to see him do that. Like, even reaffirmed like, all right, this content creation thing is so different. Like, because you have people that create content and then you have content creators, and he's like a true content creator. Like
Yeah.
all the things that and it made me like realize all that stuff that he puts out. Like he's like a genius with it. And,
Yep.
like everyone else like makes content, and like a lot of times content is like when I think of it, a lot of people are it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're throwing stuff and they hope it sticks, but it's like he's gotten down the formula where it's like that sticks, that sticks, that sticks.
Yeah.
Because you know the things to do, and it's like you put all those things together, and it's like boom, then you have
Yeah.
something really good.
I heard a guy who's a writer, a successful writer, been doing it for 26 years in the business, and he was saying there's a difference between content and craft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Content is like whatever, but craft, and that's what you're talking about.
definitely.
Is that Batch took the time and he's honed his craft. He's become a better artistic storyteller, not just like film it, throw it out there, see what sticks. Like
and
spaghetti,
hope for the
right?
best. Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
can make this content, and I know that it's gonna do this because I put these elements in, and
Right.
it's like you
Yeah.
understand. Like it's for me too. It's like when you think about if you truly love your craft, you're gonna focus on even all of the details that most people don't want to do. So it's like, yes,
Yeah.
and I used to, like, my ego would get in the way at first because it was like, all right, I love dunking so much. It's not about the video. It's about just posting the dunk. The dunk's going to be good enough. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, if you truly love it enough, you're going to focus on that too. And it's
Yeah.
like, all right, let's make sure that this is the right. And if you're that skilled, then it's like you can do those things on command. Where it's like you go to a show and it's like, all right, we need you to dunk, and it's like, all right, I got X, Y, and Z.
I
Stand right
wonder
there
if
and do
we
that.
could, like tonight, plan filming a dunk in a specific way that would just be like insane.
Yeah,
You know, with you, like
definitely.
let's plan on doing like one viral bit.
Figure out a really cool
Figure out a
angle
cool
or
thing.
Yeah.
a cool take on it, a cool twist on it. I like
Definitely.
that idea. Another topic I wanted to get to, JClark, before we get closer to the end here is you do a lot of training, as we've talked a little bit about
Yeah.
different types of training, weight training, resistance training, jumping, all kinds of stuff, and you post a lot of really cool tips and
Yeah.
some of your stuff. What would be some of your top pieces of advice, I guess, for people out there looking to improve their vertical jump,
Yep.
just improve their athleticism,
Mhm.
or just tell us a little bit about your training and your philosophy on there?
First and foremost, the big thing is consistency. Kind of when we're talking about having time and really working on your craft, you just have to be consistent. You're never gonna have like the perfect workout every single day and have the perfect, recipe for everything to work out.
So
You
don't expect to.
don't expect it. Like, expect things to go bad. Things will go bad in training. Training is, from a physiological standpoint, you're stressing your body. You're putting stress on your body and hoping that your body recovers to get stronger and overcome that resistance. So you just have to be consistent with that process, because it's like up and
Yeah,
down, and it's
yeah.
like, but if you do it over time, the up and down goes like this. And then if you look at it from 6 months ago, you were
Yeah.
here, now you're here. So yes, you're going to get there eventually, but it's not going to look like this.
Straight line, yeah.
You're going to go down first, and it's like, are you willing to come into the gym when you're tired? Are you willing to come in when you're sleepy and you don't want to come into the gym?
And push yourself
Yeah,
beyond
so
the limits.
consistency is number one. Number two, especially with jumping, it's all about quality, not quantity. A lot of times people think like 1,000 jumps is better than 1,000 bad jumps is better than 10 good jumps. It's like, when you're training for specific high level dunk and jumping, you want to make sure that the quality is good. So it's like, a lot of times when before I was a dad, and I would go to the gym, and obviously my wife was cool with it. A little different now. Like, I would go to the gym, I would sit in my car for like 20 minutes, and I would get my mind right. Like, you're gonna make this the best session. You really got to focus on every single rep. This one is the most important. And I was like, everything was a lot. It was quality based, and it was like, you really got to focus on making sure you're doing everything the best you can do it, and that kind of translated to like when you're performing too. So it's like, you didn't have bad reps, because you don't have bad reps. You
It's
really
practice.
focus on
Perfect practice makes
Definitely.
perfect.
definitely.
Not practice makes perfect. But you gotta
Definitely.
practice
Perfect practice. So it's like, if you keep practicing bad things, it's gonna be bad. So it's like, when you're going in for a dunk and you're trying to like work on technique, you can't just throw it at the rim, because you're just building up bad habits to throw it at the rim. So it's like,
Yeah.
really focus on quality, consistency, and then just not being afraid to push the envelope. A lot of times, like, people underestimate the resiliency of the body.
Yeah.
So it's like, you a lot of times, especially within the training community right now, the big thing is bulletproofing. Like, no pain, no injury. And it's like, no, you have to crack an egg to make an omelet. Like, things
Yeah.
things are gonna hurt. Things aren't gonna feel good.
Now, that said, you don't want to be going in and doing like we've seen all those gym fail videos where
Yes.
the
Oh
dude's
yeah, no,
dangling from the thing and wiggling
Oh,
the
no,
body
no,
around,
there's-
thinking that muscle's coming
Yeah.
from that.
Bench
Yeah.
falls down on your neck.
Oh yeah, no, there. It's definitely a balance, but it's like, for the people that are starting to do their due diligence and work hard and trying to get into the training life, it's like, you're gonna feel terrible some days. You're gonna go in and you're not gonna be 100%.
As someone who's weight trained too, I really appreciate what you're saying here too, because
He's got like 10, 12 powerlifting records, national records.
probably not anymore. I probably have a few that are still maybe
That
there,
still
but a lot
linger?
of them have probably been broken at this point. I used to powerlift when I was
Raw powerlifting.
tiny.
That's awesome.
I still am tiny, but when I was real skinny in high school, I
Yeah.
His dad actually is his world
my
record
dad,
holder.
on the other hand, is a
in
world
his-
champ.
yeah.
That's
He's crazy.
crazy.
But as someone who has trained with resistance training for many years, after you do it for a while, you start to kind of assess your tolerance for where you're pooped out,
Yeah.
right? Where you crap out, and it's like then when you establish that, you start to push it. You start to like take that and okay, I can go a little further. I can go a little further,
Yeah.
a little further, and if you find yourself figuring out, oh, I could have gone a lot further.
Definitely.
Like, you know what I mean? Like when you take a weight or an exercise that you think ahead of time is way too much for you, but then you do it, you're like, I could do the weight I was doing way more than I was doing.
Definitely,
You know, like,
yes.
so you start to like kind of figure that out as you push that envelope, like you were saying.
You break down your own barriers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Psychologically and
you
physically.
really
1,000.
explore and find out just how far you can push your body
1,000%.
further than you thought.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that I tell all my athletes. Like, the mind is so powerful, and if you believe you can do something, chances are you might be able to do it.
Mhm.
If you don't believe you can do something, like if you don't think you can do it,
You're right.
Whether you think you can,
100%, you're right, and you're not gonna do it.
That's the great quote. Whether you think you can or you can't,
you're right.
You're right.
100%.
And that's a tragedy for those that think they can't. Because again, we talk about how much potential people have. No matter where you come from, no matter your background, there's so much potential.
100%.
You just got to start thinking you can. And that goes with the quote you said earlier, too. One of your favorite quotes about
deepest fear being powerful beyond measure.
Yeah.
A lot of times people are afraid to be
because of what they can.
Yeah, what they can do.
Afraid of what you can
do.
do.
Not what you cannot do. It's like you're afraid of your own greatness, which is weird.
And I say don't be afraid of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of what you can do.
Yeah.
Because if your heart is in the right place, you can and will do amazing things that will be
1,000%.
great and will be positive.
1,000%.
Not, if you're an a-hole, please think you can't and then don't, But if you're a good person, believe in yourself, believe in those around you, and that you can get the support and do.
Yeah.
Go for it and do it.
Amen to that.
Have you ever heard anyone jumping over them or landed on anyone wrong? Or
you know what's crazy? I just did a contest. I did a contest in Vegas this last week. I did it on Monday. So there was I do a signature dunk, Jonathan's Wall, where I do the splits over 5 people. And at the end, they're like, I needed a 5th person, and there was this photographer in the crowd. So I'm like, all right, you come out, you can be the 5th person. And I put him at the end. And like I'm looking over, and this guy's like moving his head. He's moving around, like trying to take this good angle.
Was he got like a super huge telephoto lens? He's maneuvering around.
And I'm like, dude, like don't move.
Stay still.
And like as I'm running up, like he moves his head, and I just kick the living crap out of him. And like,
well, good thing it wasn't a man with a baby, right?
The crowd like gasped, and he's like nervous, and I'm like, don't, like, I have to go back and do it again. I'm like, don't not move. Like, whatever you do, don't move. And he's like, is he gonna make this? I was like, I've done this a million. Like, don't move. And then he doesn't move, and I do the dunk, and everyone goes crazy. And I apologized to him afterwards, but it was like, he was like, oh yeah, no, my bad. I was just really trying to get a good angle of this. Like,
yeah.
But it's like not like. If you're a part of the dunk, don't move. So it's like
you're like, hey, I was trying to get a good angle too, to not kick you in the face.
Definitely. So, but when I do it perfectly, it feels so good, and it looks just like
looks awesome.
It looks awesome, and it's a great dunk, and the crowd goes crazy. But yeah, so like I did that, and then one time, when I was on the Rise tour, we were touring the U.S. every week, and we were dunking in parking lots, and it was a kid too, and I felt so bad. I kicked him, and I was just like, oh, I just kicked the kid, and he was like, but he was like super high. It's as weird as it sounds, except for the third guy. The other 2 people were really hyped for me to try the dunk again. Like, no, you got this. You can do it. And it's like,
do it.
I'm like,
I'll put my face in there again. I'll put my head right there. Just go over.
Like the first time I did, I was like, because it was the first time the dunk has ever been done. And he was like cussing at me, like motivating me, like, you got this, you could do this. And he was like he was bald too. So he's like rubbing the back of his head. And it's like,
it's like skateboarders slamming their boards down for Tony Hawk to
like you got that,
you
got that. And I came back like every time after I kick somebody, like it motivates me, like, all right, don't do that again. Like pick up your legs a little bit higher.
We're going to build a wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be Jonathan's wall. It's going to be fantastic.
And he's going to jump way, way over it.
And the photographer's going to pay for it.
He paid for it, all right.
That's my trump right there.
There you go.
JClark, who are some of your biggest inspirations, either on the court, fitness people? Who inspires you?
So first and foremost, I'm gonna say my mom. Just kind of hearing my story. She's the type of person, and I tell everybody this. Like if I were to call my mom right now and say, hey, I'm done being a teacher. I'm done being a pro dunker. I want to be an astronaut. She'd be like, all right, what do you need to do to make it happen? Like just
Awesome.
100%,
Yeah.
100% belief and support in like me, which is like as a kid growing up, like it instilled that like positive belief that I can do anything I set my mind to. So like that has been one of the biggest factors in my life. Like so like I truly believe I can do anything I set my mind to. And if it's something that I like am not doing is because I don't want to do it. So like, I attribute that to my mom. From a dunking standpoint, I think growing up, everybody says Vince Carter, and I truly believe Vince Carter was one because he was such a phenomenal dunker, phenomenal athlete. But one of the things that I remember that stood out was like when he was in the Eastern Conference Finals, he focused on his graduation, and that was like academics was so important. And then that was kind of one of the things like I look back on my life, and it's like, man, academics has been so big in my life. And it's like, I wonder where I get this seed planted. And it's like, I truly think it was like Vince Carter, like, him going back to school and focusing on education. And it's like, you can be an athlete, you can be a student, you don't have to fall into this like one archetype of like, oh, I'm an athlete, so I have to be stupid. Like, and that was one of the reasons why I loved being a science teacher, because it was like, yeah, I'm one of the best dunkers in the world, but we're gonna talk about forces. We're gonna talk about natural selection. I'm gonna be excited about that stuff too. And it's like you can do anything you set your mind to. So it's like you take that and you take that, and then I think like you say like anybody that's willing to push barriers. So like you have Tony Hawk, Travis Pastrana, anybody that's like going above and beyond like what human capability is like. Those guys get me fired up. Like when Danny Way's like jumping over like the Great Wall of China, it's like you can't do that, and it's like no, I'm gonna do that.
Watch
like
me,
those, like those that.
I love that.
Like when people like push past, like I love hearing those stories of like Roger Bannister was the first person to break the 4-minute barrier in the mile, and doctors at the time said it was humanly impossible to do.
Shows what they know.
And the crazy thing, like flash forward to 2021, not like high school kids are doing it.
Wow.
There's hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people that have accomplished this feat, and it's like all stem from this one person who had this idea of like, no, it's possible. I don't think it's humanly impossible. Like I'm gonna go do it, and like, goes out and does it. So like I love those stories.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, anybody that pushes the boundaries, like
I love that. There's such a universal like underdog theme and
definitely
and inspirational vibe to any field that does that. I think I remember that there was an article in some New York newspaper that said human flight might be possible in 10 years. And the next day, the Wright brothers flew their like in a different part of town.
Yeah.
In Kitty Hawk, they did their thing, and like over here in this big city, they're like, "Oh, scientists are saying their human flight might be possible in 10 years." And like these guys over there doing their own thing flew like the length of a football field in some homemade paper mache looking origami like flap that they made, and they did it.
And now today we have people literally flying around like Iron Man with those like handheld.
I
mean, like it's insane. I mean, like we're literally at the point where you can be Superman.
It's crazy. That guy flew from one boat to another Navy boat and like landed and then back and like is doing all these. It's Iron Man stuff. It's crazy.
I think that this is such an important message and an important way of thinking for today, especially too, as we see so much in our country, at least, of people playing the victim and not embracing their own potential, and really loving and feeling the freedom in their own work ethic.
Or feeling like it's been snuffed out.
Yeah.
It hasn't.
I think especially over COVID, sadly, so many people were,
I was just talking about to my students about this today. And it's like one of the biggest downfalls of COVID is not, shut down and limitations of physical limitations of what you can't do. It was this self-proclaimed limitation of stuff you couldn't accomplish. Because I truly believe if COVID happened when I was in high school with the mindset that I had in high school, I would have thrived. Because it's like, yes, this sucks. Yes, this is not the most ideal situation. but I'm gonna make the best of the situation. I would have been at the park with my laptop set up, and I would have been training. I would have,
Created an
I
opportunity.
would have been like, I would have been able to like sit at home, and I would have been working out.
Yeah.
I would have not like, I wouldn't have missed a step because it was something that I wanted to do. And I think a lot of times it truly, shows what people really want to accomplish and what they want to do. And it's, if you don't want to do something, that's fine. But, to say you want to do it and not, follow through on the things that need to be done, like that's where the problem comes in.
Or to insist that you are like you're a victim and you just
Because
have
of
no,
because
you
of
have no,
you,
yeah,
you
or
can't have
or
that. Yeah,
XYZ reason is preventing me from doing it. Like, no.
no, yeah,
Go break through all that and go do it, Like,
definitely.
go find a way, make your own path. Well, Jay Clark, we've covered a lot of really great
Yeah, man.
stuff and a lot of great pieces of advice,
Yeah.
honestly, for anyone in any field, really, but especially people looking to, increase their athleticism and achieve a goal of any kind.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of
or
really
what they
cool
focus
things.
on. What's your focus?
Definitely.
Right.
It's not just being able to do it, it's being able to do it in a way that, and to present it in
Yeah.
a way that can grow it. Like for filmmakers, which we deal mostly with filmmaking, and we've talked a lot about content and
Yeah.
craft and that kind of stuff, because it's every part of every aspect of our lives now.
definitely.
And so to see that you've taken what you've learned and how to do things, it's not just about a technical dunk, it's about the presentation and bringing your community in
Yes,
more, engaging more.
definitely.
And that's what you've done with your craft,
Yeah,
not necessarily content, but your craft.
Yeah.
You've really honed it, and
Yeah.
you've applied other things, not anything to do with dunking, but filmmaking, how you film it, angles, all that stuff. And you've really married the two in a way that you can create this wonderful, good community that I mean, basically uplifts
Yeah, I mean,
and elevates.
I wanted to share
Yeah.
this great Bible verse that you have, Jay Clark, on your website. It
Yeah.
seems like one of your favorites.
yes.
Mark 11:23.
Yeah,
Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his head, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it will be granted unto him.
yes.
Any closing pieces of advice based off of that to anyone out there?
Yeah,
looking to-
so I mean, we've been talking about the power of the mind and belief and stuff like that. At the end of the day, if you believe, you can move mountains. Like you can, and it's funny because I think of another movie that we didn't even talk that's non-sports related, Prince of Egypt.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston talking. There will be miracles when you believe.
Yeah.
So it's like when you truly believe you can do something. Like you can, like when you really break down that idea, like especially in the Bible when it's talking about moving a mountain, you just think about a human moving an actual mountain like that. Seems super insurmountable. That's just
Yeah.
like you're not gonna move a mountain, but it's like in the Bible it says that if you believe, like, and you have faith and you don't doubt in your heart, like you can move a mountain. And it's like if you can move a mountain, like doing a 12-foot dunk doesn't seem that big of a deal. And
Yeah.
it's like if you really like
Right.
yes, that's a crazy high feat, and that's only one human has done that on the earth. But it's like if you truly believe and you're willing to put in the time and do what it takes to be done, like it can it can happen. You can achieve all of your dreams with faith and belief and hard work. And I think those three things are together you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Like you gotta really like truly believe, and you really get the hard work has to back up the belief as
Right.
well. So
Yes.
it's not just so much like believe, because I believe I can fly one day, and if I'm not doing anything, if I'm sitting at home eating hot Cheetos, like I'm no closer than I was.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
diss to Hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
If we want to get the Frito sponsor, they sponsor on that.
But so I'm saying, like, if you truly believe you can do something, and
Do the impossible.
you're willing to put in the work, you can do impossible things.
That's amazing, man. Well said.
Amen.
Well said.
Yeah.
Jerry Clark, where can people follow you? Where's your social media?
All of my social media accounts are at JClark the Jumper, Facebook JClark the Jumper, YouTube, Reddit, TikTok. Shout out to my students. I was like 3 years ago. They were like, Mr. Clark, you got to get a TikTok. I was like, what is this? It's another social media,
Another
thing that
one.
I got to do. And then like you start scrolling through, and it's like now I'm 2 hours in, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm a savage. I'm doing all the dances and stuff. So it's like, but yeah, no, all
Well,
of my socials JClark the Jumper. The website is www.jclarkthejumper.com. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Interesting fact: TikTok is taking over.
Oh, it is.
It's taken over.
It's actually it's my number 2 social media behind Instagram.
Even though it's like
But
one of your newest, probably.
It's
right?
Yeah,
it's the newest.
yeah.
It's the newest
But-
by like
Instagram
Yeah.
is like it's becoming the new Facebook. It's gonna dwindle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you check on it from time to time, but
everything's so you
but
see
TikTok
it.
is really where
Everything's
everyone is.
evolving. But you know what's crazy? My Instagram is actually starting to grow now because they're doing the Reels thing. So it's like
Reels,
yeah.
Reels.
Instagram's trying to compete for that TikTok.
Yeah.
So is YouTube with Shorts. It's
Ah,
it's a
yeah,
crazy
yeah.
world. There's a lot of battles going on for that space. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, JClark, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed this conversation. A lot of great truths and just things to think about. I think that people can come back
Yeah,
to this
life
podcast
lesson.
and
Yeah.
find. So thanks for being here, man.
Thank
This
you
was
for
fun.
having me. It's always awesome to kind of share my story, and hopefully my goal, if it's one person that's watching that motivates to like go out and achieve their dream. Mine is dunking. That's why I'm the jumper. But if yours is filmmaking, if it's writing, if it's I don't know underwater basket weaving, go out and do that. And I promise you, whatever field you're in, you're gonna face adversity, but stick through it, have faith, believe, you'll be good to go.
Yes.
Well said, man. Well, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you all who joined in on the live stream. And join us again next time on another episode of Unlikely Story.
Awesome.